Okay. So consumer decision making we are going to learn today. How and why of consumer decision making. How a consumer makes a decision of buying something and how you make decisions of buying any product that you need. Okay. So there's a case of RA Milk Dairy.
Ma'am, presentation mode.
Yeah, the full screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The firms that choose not to understand their consumers' purchase behavior often lose out the market share. That's what happened to the milk dairy. Because if you don't understand what the person wants, what your consumer segment wants, what is their psychology, what makes them or derives their decisions, you're going to lose out on getting the sales. And most consumer driven goods manufacturers or marketers, they fail to understand the nuances, the psychology behind it. Now it is better because many brands have actually employed psychologists to deal with the psychology of the consumer. That is why big brands they are gaining bigger shares and medium or small brands are struggling because they can't employ psychologists. So it is best that at our level we should study the psychology of consumers ourselves, right? Then we have Dr. Kamal with us. So I believe all medical doctors must also be having psychology as one of the chapters or something, one of the branches. All right. So now an excellent engineering product may fail just because the consumer does not identify himself or herself with it. So it's not only engineered product. It's it can be any product. So let me ask, how many of you have heard about Nestle? Nestle tea? First, it was launched in 1997. Soft marketing. Then 2001, they tied up with Coca-Cola so that Coca-Cola already goes from every departmental store to every shop to every corner it is sold. So they clubbed and they made a collaboration with Coca-Cola. And they thought that now everything will start to move fast. After 16 years of their collaboration, they had to part ways because it did not go the way they had thought. They believed that now the Indian population is changing. There has been IT boom and the habits are going to change and everybody is going to love iced tea. But Indians as tea drinkers is the majority of population is a tea drinker. They love tea, most of them, especially North India. But yet the project bombed because they didn't realize that Indians, they love hot tea, piping hot tea. Even in the months of June and July, they will go to chayos. Now the chayos is here. It wasn't there at that time. Back then, there was no tea cafes. It used to be at home or wo jo corner mein stall wala hota hai, tea stall. Even if it was, at a stone, a guy making tea, people will stop by and have a cup of tea there with their friends. The college students will go out and there will be a chai wala outside the college or in the canteen. So their tea drinking habits were totally different than what Nestle or Nestle decided because they are multinationals. They thought that they can introduce this concept. It doesn't happen in India. They anyways love tea. So they'll love iced tea as well. But the project bombed for 16 years. They kept struggling. Now they have this kind of muscle. They can keep pumping in money year after year. How many of us can struggle with a business and still continue for 16 years? How many of us? No, it doesn't make sense. 16 months is a big time, if at all, right? But they could do it because they thought they'll be changing the Indian consumer psyche. Finally, in 2017, they parted ways. अब बहुत हो गया भाई. Now we can't take it anymore. Finally, they decided that अब नहीं चलता. बंद कर दो. Coca-Cola pulled out. Nestle is still trying to change consumer psychology. And to the advantage of Nestle, some shift has started happening. We have currently, there's someone, I don't know which is the company that has launched a ready to drink, RTD, iced tea brand, kombucha. And my kids have gone crazy after it now. In past 6 months, I have seen so much of kombucha at home, I can't tell you. So again, there is a change of consumer psyche happening now, 20 years after the launch. So that is the time that takes when someone is not aware what goes on where, what is the cultural, dynamics in that place. Okay. So one has to understand before launching a product or during the launch, the marketers as well as the manufacturers, what is the psyche of consumer. Then the firm must understand the buyer's purchasing behavior. If you don't know the buyer's purchasing behavior, you're going to fall out and you can keep on spending without getting results. Especially how the buyer decides what motivates him and who influences him. Very big point. Who influences? Only the spouse or the spouse in-laws as well, or the neighbors or friends? Who is the influencer? The marketer needs to focus on how and why of the total experience consumers have with the product and the service, right? So I just shared about Nestle, and same way we know one big win in the same spectrum, Red Bull. How many of you have had Red Bull? Type me in the chat box. Red Bull is one thing that was never needed. We already had our coffee and we used to get our caffeine through that coffee, right? They created a need in the consumer's psyche that their product is the best. The sports people, the students, when they have their exams and they need to study, they need greater focus and they need to not feel drowsy, they need to feel active. And this has 5 times the caffeine of a cup of coffee. So obviously it works magic. The amount of Red Bull that has penetrated Indian market without the need, the artificially created need has actually created a need in consumers' minds. So that is how they have played with the psychology of consumers. Okay. Now, what is consumer mind? It's like a black box. It is absorbing everything and recording everything. So buyer continues to be an enigma, sometimes responding to why the marketers want, and on the other hand, occasions just refusing to buy the product from the same marketer. It's totally undecided. And people like to do what other people are doing. What people are doing, people get drawn towards that. Because we all are social animals. And we love to do what our friends are doing, what is the trend, what is the fashion. If it is a fad, if everybody is doing, we'll do that. The marketers provide stimuli, but they're uncertain of the buyer's response because initial stimuli is a combination of product, price, features, advertising, sales promotions. So the company controls all these stimuli. Company, the manufacturer or the marketer, they control the product is of course controlled by the company and the price. Then marketer controls the advertising, sales promotion, display, and distribution to some extent, or maybe they all are governed by the company only with the assistance of the marketer. And then social, word of mouth, and reference group. This is where Tajurba comes into play. How you influence FMCG products. If you use Tajurba, if you are smart enough to use Tajurba, you can actually launch your brands and make them successful. And consumers' mind, the black box, what you see here, is constantly fed by these things, by the marketers. This is the stimuli that we are feeding into consumers' mind. And then the response comes out of his mind, whether he wants to buy or no buy. Depends upon whether your stimuli had any impact on him or it failed. Now the consumer's decisions, it's a set of options from 2 or more alternative choices. A consumer decision produces an image of an individual carefully evaluating the alternatives of a set of products, the brand or services, and rationally selecting one that solves a clearly recognized need for the least cost. Some people understand and they think that because they are part of community or because they are part of group, so they can offer whatever price they want. And some of them are, taught by their teachers or mentors or certain groups that you can charge extra just because you're part of a group. Let me tell you, everyone is smart. You can charge extra if you are giving 100 times extra value for that particular same product. Besides the product, if you give them comprehensive back-end support, if you give them installation, if you give certain extra freebies, then you can definitely charge extra. But if the product is mediocre, red ocean, no USP, you forget about charging extra. Forget about charging the basic cost as well. So be smart enough to find your USP, create that difference. Otherwise, you will struggle with the prices. Purchase involvement is the level of concern for or interest in the purchase process triggered by the need. There has to be a need, guys. If there is no need, you have to create a need in his mind. So learn to either identify the need or create a need in his mind, so that many times they have a need, but they don't understand that they have a need. Many people, they don't understand or realize that they actually have a need. They'll keep struggling. So you lead them to making a better decision for their own benefit. That is the right sales. That's the right marketing strategy. And that is definitely going to drive a sales closure. So need to consider a particular purchase is very important. Product involvement is the level of concern for a particular brand or a product category. That is the involvement of product in the decision making. For example, juice purchase involvement is like Slice, Mirinda, all these are the products that are available. And out of these, the client has to understand what he wants. Because there's not only one thing, juice, he can also have a cold drink, Mirinda. He can also have Thumbs Up. So all these products are involved competing for the same cent or rupee, right? And which one he will buy? The one that matches his psychology, provided all the stimuli are being given to him. So types of consumer decisions. One is normal decision. The problem is recognized, person requires something to solve that problem, and there is an information search, and there is limited internal search. So limited internal search is when you're just researching yourself in your mind from your past experiences. Okay, I bought from this brand, it was good, so let me go and buy. Then there is limited decision making. This is first what we discussed was normal decision making, where we just know that, okay, we have been buying this kind of product and this usually comes out okay, let us just go and buy. The next is limited decision making, where problem is definitely identified already. Then information search involves internal as well as limited external search. So internal, you already have past experience you are depending upon, and you will also consult some other people or some other sources, maybe internet search, maybe any magazines or any other trend search. Then alternative evaluation. You will find few attributes and simple decision making of by checking few alternatives. Some of the attributes you will find out of the product, and you will see whether there are other alternatives, which one should you pick up, and then ultimately you will buy. Then there is, for complex articles or complex purchases, there is extended decision making. Problem recognition is definitely there. You need to buy. If it is, maybe a phone you want to buy, maybe a jewelry set you want to buy, or maybe a house you want to purchase. You will have information search, total internal and external. Internal is your own knowledge, self-knowledge, past experience. External is what you consult from the other friends, internet, or other people who you depend upon. Then alternative evaluation. You will just check all the attributes of that product, because it involves a lot of money. And then you have to see what are utility features of it, whether you are able to use or capitalize on them, they match your requirement or not. That is why the decision making is complex decision making. And you go in for many alternatives. If you have to buy a house, you will buy it once, and next you may buy after 10 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years, right? So obviously you will check 30 alternatives to buy one house. And then the purchase happens. So the roles of consumer in consumer decision making. One is user, who needs to buy a product, who will use it. Then sometimes the buyer is different than the user. They are not the same. You buy products for your children, right? They use it, but you buy. Then third is decider. Sometimes decider is someone, buyer is another one, and user is another one. Like a child, he wants a phone. He will tell his father to buy. but decision will be made by mother, or alternative. Mother will buy and father will decide, no, buy him this phone. Okay? Then there is an influencer. That could be chacha. नहीं, इसको ये वाला phone लेके देने का, बच्चा घुमा देगा. Don't buy him such expensive one. And then there is an initiator. That could be your cousin. He has bought an iPhone and now you want it. So he will tell his dad कि मेरे friend को भी ले दो ना, उसको भी ले दो, अमन को भी ले दो, मैंने लिया है. Then his father will come to your father. He will tell your mother कि इसको ये वाला phone ले दो. So this is an entire chain in that decision making. Now, what kind of decision is in, if it is just some Coke or Pepsi, obviously so much of decision making is not required. But in complex decision making, this is the process. So many people are involved. And if you are a brand owner or marketer, or you are a product company, you have to take care of psychology of all of them, not one, all of them. Now, consumer decision processes are the decision-making process undertaken by consumers in regard to potential market transaction before, during, and after the purchase of a product or service, right? It's not only till the purchase, it's after the purchase as well, because you want them to talk good about you and to get the best experience so that they tell 10 other people, so that you become the choice, first choice, not only in his home, but in his neighbor's home as well. So the focus of this process forms an integral part of consumer behavior on how consumers spend their available resources, such as time and money, on personal and household products and services so as to satisfy their needs, right? The decision-making process that consumers use when making purchase vary, particularly with regard to the time and effort that they take to reach a decision. That's a complex process. For simpler things, it is easy, but the more the money, the more the features, the more complex the process becomes. And you have to address all those involved in decision making. Now, need recognition or problem awareness. This is the first step. So you got to understand and identify the need of the client. Why does he need? Neetu, why does your client need your candles? Why does he need your candles?
Is most of the time why me, because they believe that they are going to get a quality product, and they know that they are going to get the product in bulk, and they will have the uniformity in the product.
They will have the uniformity. Venkat, what is the need recognition for your product, for your service? How would you identify that your client needs your service?
So if he is searching a house, or he wants to expand his business, or he wants to buy a car, that is his need. So that is through which I get that.
Wonderful. Anand, how do you identify the need?
When somebody is struggling to remember, or facing stress, or going into competitive exam, so they want to save time and effort. So that's where I pitch in actually.
Wonderful. Very nice. Ramneet, how would you identify the need?
Yeah. So there are a few things like we have various projects. So one is safety. Once the client is looking for safety, then they hire us. The other thing is when they are looking for technical expertise, like they want to get something which is not conventional building or manufacturing, then they invite us. The other thing is when there is a time-bound initiation of a project, then they hire us. So these three factors primarily client decides when they want to hire a technocrat for building construction or interiors. So time, quality, and typical project and safety. These are four parameters on which client hires us.
Wonderful. So what each one of you must do is write down the identification marks, that what makes you identify that the client needs your product or service. Write down 2, 3, 4 points, whatever come to your mind. And if you don't write now, few points you may miss. You have to revisit this sheet tomorrow and the next day for 7 days. For 7 days, you will revisit this sheet again and again because some new thoughts will come to your mind. And finally, whatever you have missed, you will be able to comprise one solid statement that yes, this is the need identification, that why my client needs my product.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
Don't do just now at spur of a moment.
Like to decide on USP, it shall be one line item.
Yes, you will decide 5-7 items, and out of that, you will make one statement, maybe 3 lines, 4 lines.
Okay.
Yes, this is why, this is my need identification for my client, that this kind of client needs my services because I offer this. This is his need, and this is my product, they match.
Okay.
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 So whatever comes to your mind, write down now so that this remains fresh in your mind, and you will revisit this page for next 7 days every day and add on to the thoughts. First time when you may keep adding, whatever comes to mind, keep adding. It may become an essay. Out of that, you will take out the essence or summary. It can be 3 lines, it may be 5 lines, 1 paragraph, but something where you become clear that how to identify client's need, that yes, this is the client and he must get my product, otherwise his need will not be satisfied, because we all sell in the spirit of service. हम लोग क्लाइंट को तब बेचते हैं जब हमें पता है कि उसको हमारी प्रोडक्ट से फायदा होगा. अगर हम उसको अपना प्रोडक्ट नहीं बेच रहे हैं, so we are doing a disservice to him because उसको वो फायदा नहीं होगा. If he goes to somebody else who is giving him less features or less safety or less strength of the structure of construction, whatever, so that will be a disservice to him because you didn't sell him. He had to go to somebody else and he got substandard product. Or he went to some other memory coach and after 3 months of training, he's again forgetting. What is the point? He wasted his time and money. So what is the call? How would you identify that, yes, this is the person who actually needs my service? Work on that. Okay?
Can I add to Ravnee's points? I think.
Yes, sir, sure.
Right. So the need of somebody who is doing interior designing, right? They need social validation. They need recognition from their friends and neighbors that, yeah, they have achieved a certain status in life. So that is the need which interior designer should look for.
Yes, because it depends upon what kind of product or service you are offering. Based on that, the need identification happens. Some things that boost their ego, boost their self-worth. A car or a luxury house or luxury spends, they just boost the ego of the person. He feels better flaunting those things. He feels his own self-worth in front of others takes a boost. While certain other things are necessity, in that the person looks at the features. What is the utility and how many features are being given in that particular price? For example, phones and all. So there are various aspects and various strata of society to who you are serving. Depends on that as well. What is the product or what is the service that you are offering? And what is the need? Then based on that you evaluate, right?
Yeah, ma'am, that kind of social recognition comes with, like, once we work with top brands, like we have done project with Quark, we have done project with Dell, I was fit out consultant with Dell. So that gives a very good recognition that, yeah, and we got certification from Dell also for one of their project that they have done a project on time. So that gives a validation and recognition of values of services what we offer.
So that is such a great thing. Whenever you are putting your hoarding or whatever way media you use for advertising, in that you can add one-liner.
Yeah.
As a testimonial. If they have given to you in writing, you can use it in media, right? That will add to your credibility.
Yeah. So one of the projects we did with Raste Khalsa, that is a Punjab's top heritage museum. We did interior of 13 galleries in that segment. So working on those projects gives a recognition because those projects are recognized in state, in country. So that gives a direct recognition of company also, whosoever has worked on those projects.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So marketing strategy is used for problem recognition. Discover consumers' problems. That's the need identification, because if he has a problem and you are solving it, that is the need you are fulfilling. So activity analysis, you have to see what the customer does, what kind of activities he gets into. Product analysis, that is your product that you are offering him. And problem, how do the two match? The need and the offer, they have to match to make a right fit so that the sales is closed. Okay. Responding to consumer problems. Whenever they have any problem, you have to respond, and that's what makes the probability of sales closure higher. Then helping consumer recognize the problem. Sometimes consumer is not aware that he has that problem, and you can help him get a better life. Better, for example, a person is forgetful and he feels that, oh, I'm forgetful. Now he knows that he's forgetting, and that is impairing his life quality, or that is impairing his business, his money making, his scores for a student, for his examination scores. But he is not able to do anything about the problem because the problem is not identified and singularized in his mind. He knows that he has a problem, but he doesn't know that how severe it is and how to correct it. They are pitching your problem, your product or your service. That comes into play because you can actually help him improve his quality of life. Anant, it's for you. And similarly, other people, Neetu, a person is already having, like, they use candles in case to beautify their house. But with your scented candles, their sense of well-being can improve. Their calmness, because all the smells, they appeal to your psychology. They make you feel calm, make you feel, happy. There's so many other impacts of scents. There's different impact of different scent. I don't remember each one of them. I had studied.
It actually relieves you from a lot of stress also.
Yes.
And it cures your insomnia. It gives you a very tranquil sleep if the right kind of fragrance is used.
So fragrances have a deep impact on mind, and persons, layman people don't know about it. So if you use that element to use as a stimulus for the prospective client to address to that need, your sales will be closed because you are going to help that client recover from that problem. So helping consumer recognize the problem insomnia sabko pata hai, but you can help him overcome that to a great extent. They don't know. Then suppressing problem recognition. A person doesn't know and उसको प्रॉब्लम का पता ही नहीं है, सप्रेस्ड है उसके अंदर, आपने उसको आइडेंटिफाई कराना है. Now, once the problem is recognized, relevant information from long-term memory is used to determine if a satisfactory solution is known. What are the characteristics of potential solutions and what are the appropriate ways to compare solution and so forth. This is called internal search, जो हमारे दिमाग के अंदर चलती है. Ever since we are born and ever since we have come up to whatever age we are, we have a log of memory in our mind. And that is the black box we are carrying, all of us. All of us have a black box in our mind. So whenever there is a need or a problem, we go back into our memory bank, pull out relevant examples, how we solved it in the past, and we look out the solutions at present, whatever are available. Now, at that point, if your message is actually addressing those issues which are deep-seated, which he felt last time and the last to last time, then your product becomes a go-to product. So this is called internal search, जो हमारे black box के अंदर चलती है. Then if a solution is not if a resolution is not reached through internal search. Now there's a first time some need has arisen. And now he has to take external search. So he'll go to the web, internet, friends, relatives, and maybe marketeers, maybe some other research agencies, depending upon what kind of requirement is there. He may hire a research agency. Businesses especially hire that, market research agency. And based on that, they make a decision. It's important to note that even in extended decision making, with extensive external search, the initial internal search generally produces a set of guidelines on which the decision is made. तो अगर कुछ हम बाहर से भी कोई, whenever even we are asking other agencies to help us make a decision, still the guidelines have to come from inside us. Our black box has to work. So external search examples, obviously, we all know web, books, articles, newspapers, friends, relatives, everybody, right? That is the input we take from all these people. The types of information is evaluative criteria. The desired characteristics are consumer evaluative criteria, like for laptop or computer, and appropriate alternatives to be seen. So example हम लेते हैं laptop और computer का, and here the consumer seeks for different companies or brands. For example, Dell, HP, ASUS, Toshiba, Apple, and Fuji. So evoked set is where brands are known to the customer. They are Dell and HP. Then inert set is ASUS, Toshiba, and Apple, which are known, but he has not used them. He's familiar with the names, but he has not used them, so he doesn't have the experience with them. And then inept set is Fuji because it's not known to him. He doesn't know that they also make a laptop. But these two safest are Dell and HP. These are evoked sets because they have evoked a response. He already has an experience with them, very well knows, used them in the past. Obviously, if all the features of current offers of HP and Dell match his requirement, that will be the first choice. Now, alternative characteristics are the consumer compares the different features of selected evoked sets, evoked like known sets, price, memory, processors, etc. And whichever suits the best, he'll go for that. So being known is a good place to be in. Then evaluation of alternatives. When potential consumer have all the necessary internal and external information on alternatives, they have to evaluate the alternatives in order to make a purchase. Information will lead to evoked set. Definitely the familiarity of brands is there. For alternative products from which a choice will then have to be made. So whatever he has used already, now he wants more advanced features, but he knows that this company is reliable. He has used them in the past, so he can first chance will be given to those. Then theory of evoked set, this is called theory of evoked set. That is why it is important that you create your visibility. That's why, every time we make you say what you do, so that it gets into the minds of people. So that creates familiarity. And same way when we talk about your products outside. So this is a very good platform where each one of you can actually help each other reach out to your respective networks. So evoked set will be created. That people are using your products. Neetu has already, several people have used your candles. Several people have used 3 sessions of Anand. They have experienced. So once they have experienced, they already have an experience to bank upon. That black box already has some record inside. So they are most likely to fall back on you people. Then total set is all brands that are available. Awareness set is brands that person is aware of. Consideration set is brands that are considered, which are evoked set, mostly. Then decision set is out of the brands that are considered, which one to he is going to take. And the purchase set is the one that he is finalizing, the one that he is buying. Okay? It's a little theoretical, but yeah, it is good to know how it works, how the psychology works. So that you can actually be, after understanding their psychology, you can be the preferred choice to go to brand. So consumer uses several attributes when they're evaluating alternative products, and they are more interested in a specific attribute that brings the sought benefit if they have to go to alternative products other than the evoked set. So you come in that space. If they have not already experienced your product, you come into that space where whatever they have already experienced, you are giving something additional. So they have already experienced with the candles, but they don't have experience with the scented candles. or what the scents can do to their senses. Then price, quality, availability, service, performance, etc. They are such attributes. The number of criteria used in decision making are relatively limited, usually less than 6. So you have to ask them while interviewing or while talking to your prospective clients, ask them what is your decision making criteria based on which you will decide about this product. This is a very, very critical question in many our workshops, sales workshop and NLP for sales and all this. We teach this in great length. There is like full chapter on this. So also not all criteria are equally important. So out of 6, you have to find out which is the most important and how is your product addressing that particular important criteria. The criteria used to make a decision change depending on the consumer from the different segment of the society or TG, the product and the situation. Okay. So consumer generally makes 3 types of purchases. First is trial purchase, when he buys just a small quantity.
Hello. Can I ask a question?
Please reserve it for later. I'm about to finish. Very shortly we'll finish and then we can come back to it. So consumer generally makes 3 types of purchases. One is trial purchase, when he just wants to experience your product with a limited risk, small amount of money or limited risk, or one trial class, he'll experience your product. Then second is repeat purchase. Once he is satisfied and his expectation is exceeded by your product. He expected 10, but your product gave him 100. So he is going to come back. Now he will spend more money and experience little more to get more joy out of the service or the product that you're offering. And after that, there will be a long-term commitment. So every time he will ask for your service or product. Then trial purchase would be smaller, definitely in quantity, as understandable. And it will also be termed as exploratory phase. This is the time when he's only exploring how good you are or how good your product or service is. This is equally stands for B2B as well as B2C. It's not only for B2C that we are talking consumers. This also stands good for B2B as well. Then repeat purchase is very closely related to brand loyalty, which firm tries to encourage because it contributes to the greater stability in the market share, right? So that is long-term commitment purchases because person comes back to it. I've seen so many people, they will keep going to Marks and Spencer or H&M or whatever is their choices brand because they know that their shirts are one particular size, the quality is good, they stand so many washes, and you can just blindly order them online as well without checking because they'll come out the same. Now, post-purchase, purchasing process does not end when a consumer buys the product and he pays you the money. Actually, that is only halfway through. After the purchase, consumer tends to evaluate the experience. कि जो उन्होंने आपके product से experience उनको मिला, what was the quality of that experience? Whether his expectations were met or exceeded just by far, or they did not meet. It didn't come out as good as he thought it would be. The information will be used in future decision-making process. So, very, very important to give after sales service. The performance of the product or service will be compared with consumers' expectations. Not only here, will be discussed with their influencer set as well. He'll be discussing the experience with the influencer set, the people who influence him or his decision making. So these are the 3 possible outcomes of these evaluations. Perceived performance meeting the expectation, perceived performance exceeding the expectation. This is where you got to be. This is your area where you have to be. And perceived performance being lower than the expectation. That is a disastrous situation. When a consumer thinks of the unique positive qualities of the brand not selected, it's known as cognitive dissonance. Scientific people, Dr. Kamal will definitely be knowing it. When cognitive dissonance occurs after a purchase, this is called post-purchase dissonance. How you can minimize it? Marketing can minimize it through effective communication, effective follow-up, giving some guarantees like buyback guarantee or replacement guarantee or warranties, 1-year warranty, 5-year warranty. This can be addressed so that you can have great trust in the minds of your prospective customer to give you bigger orders. So firms' marketing efforts They include product, promotion, price, and channel of distribution. Then socio-cultural environment, like family, informal sources, other non-commercial sources, social class, subculture, and culture, all these impact the buying decision. Then consumer decision making, the need, recognition, and information. Sorry. Need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives that are available. So you have to be always aware of the competition that you have. We always top off the competition, what prices, what products, what categories, what features they are launching. As I say, competition analysis has to be your ongoing process in any line that you are, whether you are a freelancer or you are a product manufacturer or you're a service provider. We all have other people in the same category and they are our competition, right? And what they are doing, how they are trying to get better, if they have anything that you need to learn from, this is a constant evaluation that you have to keep on doing on your own offers. So evaluation of alternatives and purchase and post-purchase. This is what requires your attention. And then these all impact the experience that the customer has. Then this also for future decision making, it impacts the motivation, the perception, because he has good perception about your brand. Learning. He has learned that it is already in his black box, it is registered. It matches his personality, or you have to study what kind of personality. This goes also for the target market. What personality traits is he having? Then, his attitude towards buying. All these are the psychologies of your prospective client that you need to work on. And this again impacts the need recognition, the information search. So all this cycle carries on in the form of stimuli that help him make a decision. And then the output is the purchase, which can be first a trial purchase and then a repeat purchase. And after the repeat purchase also gives him the same kind of result, then it is long-term commitment. Already he is yours.